Okay, well, let me just call up my screen. So, hello everyone and welcome. Thank you very much for taking the time to join this webinar. Today we're going to focus on product insights for your Shopify store. So my name is Peter. I oversee operations and governance here at Avasam. I'm also joined by my colleagues, Mustafa. He leads our growth strategy, and also Lucas, who I'm sure many of you have already come across. Lucas heads our customer support team. Before we get started in the main body of the presentation, I'd just like to give a quick overview of Avasam, particularly for any of you not familiar or who are new to Avasam. So we launched in October 2019, and we're still a relatively, therefore, young company. We're an automated multi-channel dropshipping marketplace. That's what we are in 4 words. And I think for most people, dropshipping is a fairly simple concept. And if done right, it's a powerful tool either to scale your online retail business or to start a new one. Now, as we all know, it's not without its challenges. Some of you may have attempted dropshipping in the old days with the old manual techniques, emailing and spreadsheets and that kind of thing, or perhaps tried and even been successful in shipping goods direct from the Far East, low price goods, but dealing with other challenges that involves long delivery lead times, lack of accountability of your supply chain, problems when you need to return an item, items getting lost, faulty items, product quality control items, and the like. So what we're trying to do at Avasam is bring more accountability and reliability to drop shipping. So we only work with suppliers that we've personally verified and that have gone through our onboarding process. And to be a supplier on Avasam, it's only by invitation. So all the suppliers that are on Avasam are known personally to us. All of the product suppliers on Avasam are required to comply with our service level standards. They cover things such as dispatch time, so delivery within 24 hours on the business days, 2 to 3 day delivery, all end-to-end delivery time, 3 to 5 kind of maximum. They must comply with our 30-day standard returns policy, 60-day faulty item return policy. We require suppliers to dispatch goods in plain packaging without invoices, no marketing materials, and of course, all of our suppliers must comply with our prohibited items policy. Now, we're fully aware that's not always the case. You know, no one's perfect, but we do our best to try and monitor and maintain that and constantly introducing new processes around that. All of our suppliers are UK-based. We do intend to bring some international suppliers on board in the near future. But of course, we'll only be doing that under a suitable governance framework, and we'll keep you all posted on that. We're currently working with around 40 suppliers. We're growing that every month. We've got about 20 in our pipeline, 10 imminent. So hopefully in the next month or so, we can bring another 10 or so suppliers to you. And in the next 6 weeks or so, the other 10. You know, we know this is the #1 priority. We need more suppliers, more products, and more products with better margins for you guys to go out there and sell. We get that. We've had lots of feedback from you. We're very much aware that's probably the #1 thing that we need to work on. And it is, like I say, our core priority. And that's really partly what this webinar is about as well. In the meantime, finding the right products, the best products, cutting our catalog down a bit based on what we've already got in the catalog. So before I go any further, we're just going to cover a few housekeeping points. We will be sharing high-level data trends with you in this webinar. The data we share is aggregate data. So it's data that belongs to Avasam. It's not individual to any seller, and we don't share any specific seller data with any other seller or supplier, in fact. We are recording the webinar, so we'll share the link to that at the end of the presentation. And we'll also share a copy of the presentation and a link with a product pics file at the end as well. So in terms of agenda. Mustafa's going to share some high-level product data trends with you. Actually, what I'll do is I'll leave this slide with the three of us on whilst I walk you through that. So Mustafa's going to share a few high-level product data trends with you to start breaking down the catalog. I'm going to step in and continue that and also share the product picks approach that we've taken. We're then going to hand over to Lucas, and Lucas is going to spend a little bit of time just walking through the automated product listing tool that we've developed for Shopify. I'm sure a number of you are probably already using this, but we would like to make sure that everyone understands how that works. And then we're going to go and take some Q&A. Now, any Q&A you have, I see you've all found the message box already, so please do feel free to drop questions into that box. If we see any as we go and that we can answer, we'll try and do that. If not, or if we miss them and we're too focused on what we're saying, what we'll do is we'll take those questions at the end. If I could just ask, please don't ask any specific question related to your orders, or you had a problem today because something wasn't synchronizing our Amazon channel. We had a few problems today, or whatever specific issues you have. If you can kindly save those for customer support team and the live chat, and you can bother Lucas tomorrow morning with those. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Mustafa, and Mustafa is going to take you through some of our high-level trends. So Mustafa, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Great, thanks, Peter. Really nice to be here today, and we've got a good audience there. So we're looking forward to saying some of the stats and that we've been able to pull over the last few weeks from what we've been seeing while we've been in operation. A lot of our sellers, have seen really good boost in sales, especially through during the lockdown period and during COVID. I think e-commerce, as we all know, has seen a big uplift. I think makes up 20% of UK retail sales, which is fantastic. And direct storefronts, web storefronts like Shopify and BigCommerce and WooCommerce, etc., have seen great growth as well for marketplace sales. So we've been really looking at our data from all of our sales across our own catalog and our categories, and we thought we can pull some of those hidden gems of helping sellers really navigate the catalog and look at helping them decide which products they may want to source and list. I'm going to focus specifically on category at a higher level, just to see some of the main trends that we've been seeing. This particular slide, what it does, it looks across our catalog, which is across 16 categories. It's been growing really rapidly over the last year. And it sort of shows on the left-hand side all our sales channels, be that marketplace or web stores. And on the right-hand side is web store specifically and more relevantly within the Shopify seller base. Some of the highlights here we can see is, and this shouldn't be too much of a surprise in terms of where we've sort of seen sales going, is the big categories, home and garden. And that's consistent both that we've seen on our platform, but also what a lot of e-commerce sites and marketplace sites have seen as well. It's a big category. We can see on web stores only, it's a larger percentage of sales, but has lots of many different subsets within there as well. If we look at some of the other emerging categories there as well, we've got health and beauty and packaging are also very popular. Again, skewed with COVID. Packaging, I think, just in line with other e-commerce sites and online retailers and professional sellers looking at packaging options there. That category has really done well. And one of those emerging ones that we've seen perform pretty well, and it's actually a very hot category right now, is within pet supplies. I think, pet products and pet accessories moving online and new innovative products coming through are on trend, and it's forming more and more of our catalog as well, which is really great. Great, I think, this particular slide is going into more unique product shelves. So the previous one is just orders overall, and you can sort of see the volume of orders was high in home and garden. Here, when we start looking at unique products sold, we can start seeing it gets a lot more representation across the categories, particularly when you see categories like fashion and lifestyle, which by their very nature have a lot more multiple SKUs, which is product variants, product sizes. So we've got a lot more unique products sold between each category. So the volume may not be as high, but the range of listings is a lot higher as well. So it starts spreading through the base, and also categories you can sort of see like jewelry and sports items, where again, multitude of range there. And I think if we again take the range between all sales channels versus web stores, we see marketplace tools, they help the nature of more products and more SKUs being sold, versus maybe on web stores, people particularly maybe tend to key product variants coming through to be able to drive the volume through their stores. As you get through the data, now we're going to start looking at value and margin, which I think is super interesting, because ultimately we want to make sure what we're selling is profitable. And these strategies can vary. Different sellers have different strategies. Some sellers look to go for high average order value and high margin, but maybe at the cost of a lower volume of orders. They want to specialize in particular areas. Maybe their site or their other products that they might have are high value in nature. And we can sort of see those categories, again, very naturally lend themselves into that area. So if we take jewelry and accessories, by their very nature, slightly higher average order value and stretching above £20 marks. Across the spectrum, when we take both channels, our average order value sits at about £15 to £16. And that's what is pretty consistent. If you take marketplace sales, if you take across retail sales online, it's around that particular mark. It doesn't tend to deviate, because you've got super low items in there, which may be £5 to £10, the high ones coming through, but it tends to sort of be sitting at that basis. I think.
Next slide.
Yeah, let's keep moving through. Cool. Margin is really interesting, and you can sort of see
sorry, don't know what happened there.
No worries. Margin is interesting, and you can see a clear difference between all sales channels and web store only sales there as well. And largely that's due to seller strategies on making sure fees from marketplaces are covered in the margin being made. As we all know, marketplaces can range up to 15% take rates that they're taking, plus you may be using fulfillment partners, so you need to cover those costs. You need to make sure you're hitting at least a threshold there. And we can sort of see across all those sales channels, which is predominantly driven by eBay and Amazon sales, it's hitting above that 20% point. Web stores, a little bit more variety there. I think sellers can be a bit more creative. They can look to be a bit more competitive because it's their own costs, and it's all dependent on how they are driving sales and the cost of acquisitions of getting customers to their site. Again, I think if you look at some clear winners there in terms of more attractive categories where the margins are a bit deeper. If you take pet supplies, it's a very attractive category coming through. We've got trying to get closer to source there as well. We've got an equestrian supplier within that particular space, which is very attractive. And then again, those higher value products such as jewelry and accessories can denote a more attractive margin. From a Avasam perspective, when we onboard suppliers, one of our filtering criteria is to make sure sellers can make a base rate margin there. So we aim to try and push all products up above 20% to make sure sellers have the ability to be able to make decent margin, can source products competitively, and cover those costs as well as make a profit when they're selling, be it on marketplace selling or driving traffic to the site through paid ads or affiliate sites, to be able to make sure they can make a good profit at the end of the day. Cool. Next one's on sales channel, which reinforces the point that we were talking about before, and you can sort of see that element coming through. WooCommerce, and I know majority of you obviously are Shopify sellers. You may have other storefronts as well, but Woo's an interesting one whereby average order value comes higher. Woo typically is more of a custom engine as well, where maybe have more custom products and driving the higher margin, higher average order value orders. But across the spectrum, again, we can sort of see there marketplace selling, making sure margin hits above 20% points, protecting any fees that need to be taken there as well, making it effective. And then as we get across through to storefronts such as Shopify, broader network, broader sites, representing broader part of our product portfolio as well, and margins coming down a little bit there, mainly because sellers may be looking to secure the sale and make sure they get that seller to convert. So that's just a quick overview of some of the trends that we've been seeing across categories and where margin and average order value may play. So from a soundbite perspective, it's always important to know which strategy you're looking to pursue. Are you looking to pursue high volume and maybe make your margins a bit more competitive and attractive, but also making sure that you set them clearly depending on which sales strategy you have, depending on whether it's marketplace or your storefronts. If you're going for a higher margin, potentially higher average order value strategy, you can be more creative. And again, if you're looking at it on your Shopify storefront, you may want to look at those type of products there to be able to maximize those conversion, because it can be pretty expensive to drive traffic to your site and get it to convert. And that could be a way if you're a bit more specialist or customizing your product range in that way. So that's a few of the nuggets there. Peter, I'll hand it over back to you to sort of look at specifically within our supplier base and our product base, what we're seeing.
Thanks, Mustafa. So what we're going to now do is look at some similar themes, but from a supplier perspective. So category level is good. It gives you a good sense of what's going on at a kind of top level, but doesn't always help unless you're looking at some of the more niche categories, drill into some of the data. Looking at things by a supplier base is quite interesting, of course, because it allows you to zoom in a bit more. But obviously, we're aware of, and we get feedback from you guys, that you prefer to work with some suppliers against others. Some of you may have had a couple of bad experiences with a supplier or two, and so you decide you don't want to work with that supplier, but you want to focus on a supplier that's giving you a particularly good service. And so being able to zoom in by supply is beneficial for a number of different ways. So I'm going to click through a few slides now. So the first one, again, is unique products. So Mustafa looked at it by category. I'm going to look at it now by supplier. So again, just to clarify, when we say unique products, these are individual unique products, SKUs, that the suppliers have sold on the platform. It's not number of orders. We're sharing quite a lot of data on this call, but we don't, to be honest, share our aggregate data. And hopefully you can appreciate that that's confidential. But we've shown it in percentage terms. And what gives you a sense of is those suppliers that have the broadest range of products that are generating sales. Okay, so if you look at the big segments there, the blue, the red, the orange, the green, it's perhaps not surprising that those suppliers. Sorry, Ben is saying the cameras are blocking the labels. Maybe it's best to put the cameras in the. No. Sorry, Ben, I'm not 100% clear on what you're saying. If you can just type away and somebody can help.
You can carry on.
Okay, sure. Sorry for that, guys. Okay, so not surprisingly, some of the multi-category suppliers tend to have the highest quantity of unique selling products. So I'm looking at suppliers 26, number 1, number 49, 16, and 64. I'm sure a lot of you have probably sourced products from those suppliers. They're very broad across our catalog. Sourcing from these suppliers is going to give you some early wins, to be quite honest. You're probably going to get a good bit of traction because they've got a decent number of products in their catalog that are either got the right margin point or are attractive from a product perspective to generate sales. Obviously, not all suppliers do, and like Mustafa said, we aim for certain things and 20% margin and this, but as you all know and you've seen, it's not uniform across the board by any means. We can't police that exactly. Now, the challenge though, or the counter view to going for those suppliers is that you're probably going to face more competition. And that's really what we're showing on the right hand side. So now we're looking at the number of unique products by supplier, but to the number of sellers selling those products ratio. So unique products to sellers ratio. So those bars you see on the right hand side that are longer mean you've got more unique products that have generated sales per seller attempting to sell those products. So basically less competition the longer the bar is. So one strategy could be to look at some suppliers where the relative seller competition is less. Now, obviously it needs to match your sales strategy. It's no good if the categories don't match what you want to sell. Number 58 and 52 stand out. 58 is an underwear supplier. 52 is a fashion and safety clothing supplier. Now, safety clothing, not particularly sexy product, but works. There's a big market for that stuff. People need it. So something to look at. The other two, on a slightly to a lesser extent, number 10, a footwear supplier, number 56, bedding supplier. Both of those suppliers have huge range, really big, wide range. You could have a really nice category on your website for footwear or for bedding. Both of those suppliers also we've worked with quite closely to refine their data and group their products into what we call variation products. So as you all know, when you go shopping for clothing and the bedding as well, different colors and size variations of the same product need to be grouped together. Now, we haven't done that for all of our suppliers yet, and we can appreciate it's a bit of a faff, to be honest, when they're not grouped. We're working our way through them all, but those two suppliers are. So you could source many products in variation format, and you can use our listing tool to push all the variations straight to your channel. So definitely look at those two. Another one I wanted to point out, the little small orange sliver at about 7 o'clock on the chart on the left, next to the green segment. That's supplier number 75. It's so small, it's not even labeled on the chart, but it's not actually small. It's a really big selling supplier. It's a supplier we've worked with for a long time. They had to take some of their inventory offline for various reasons, and that's why the number of unique products sold for that supplier is relatively low, but the volume of sales from that supplier is actually quite high. So giving you a bit of a steer there. One of the biggest lines is wallpaper. Again, it's not the sexiest product, but we know for a fact, and we know this supplier very well, those products sell really well online more generally. They sell themselves online, but as Shopify store owners, you know, you're not competing in a marketplace like Amazon or eBay where you're all just stacked up on the same listing. So you can still generate good traffic yourself for those products. So wallpaper range, we think it's not got enough traction, and we think it's got a lot more potential than it's generating. So you might want to take a look at that. I will now, I'll move on. So I will now going to look at average order value and margin by supplier. So similar to what Mustafa looked at, but now I'm looking at it on a supplier by supplier basis. So not surprisingly, Mustafa's already mentioned the average order value on the platform is £15-16. So naturally, most suppliers are above £10 average order value. And I should clarify, that does include shipping. Interestingly, only a couple of suppliers in the left-hand chart are above £20 average order value. There's two outliers. Number 17, as you can see, high average order value. They sell some nice, relatively high-end saucepan sets, so quite expensive. And then the outlier at the low end, number 33 on the right-hand side of the left chart there, it's supplier 33. They sell mobile phone covers predominantly, so very low-value item. Now, we haven't done the variation data on that. So to be honest, we haven't seen huge sales there. But that's a type of product that, from a dropshipping perspective, is very easy to churn out. But we need to do a little bit work on the data there. But it's just to show you the kind of the range of the average order value. Why is this relevant? Mustafa's already kind of covered it, so I won't repeat. But you know, you either go high product value, you're going to get more margin, or more pounds per sale, of course. But it can also be harder to market higher average order value products, especially if you're a new seller. So for those of you who are joining us who are a bit newer to dropshipping or to selling online, building up trust with your buyer base, generally speaking, the higher product price points you sell, you need to be a more professional store and look the part, of course, because it's a bigger decision for people to take to sell to buy higher value items than it is a mobile phone cover for $3.99. Also selling higher value products. I mean, we want you to generate more gross merchandise value, but just bear in mind, you know, if you do get caught out by a fraudulent customer or end consumer or something, there's a higher risk exposure there as well. So very much depends on your sales strategy, as Mustafa mentioned, and also to an extent your experience and your risk appetite on the price points. The chart on the right is the actual sales margin achieved for the products sold across the supplier base. Now, we all know we want to locate the best margin products. The most of our active selling suppliers, as Mustafa's already mentioned, on a category basis, 20% or above. That's really the minimum threshold to cover your costs. Number of suppliers are actually at or around 30% for the products they're selling. 33, 47, 52, 56, 64. Another one, 61, is an interesting one I want to highlight. That's our packaging supplier. I know some of you have done quite well with that particular supplier. They have faced, as many suppliers globally have faced, and particularly in the packaging industry, because everyone's been buying stuff online. Supply chain issues, prices have gone up, so we have seen some price increases there. But our view is when all that normalizes back out, that is a very competitive supplier in that space. So, I would look closely at that and consider that going forward. There's a couple of suppliers there, number 10 and 58, with the margins that are on a sales basis. People have been able to achieve up to 40% final sales gross margin. Number 10 is really interesting. It's got a huge range of shoes. Again, a variation of products. We've done a lot of work with the supplier to clean up all their product data, so easy to source now. Unbranded shoes with good kind of marketing, dressing up your descriptions, nice looking website. You can eke out good margin on that type of product. Again, we know that supplier is selling in huge volume, both wholesale and retail. So okay, there's other people out there selling it, but doesn't mean to say you can't get some good sales yourself there. I would also take a look at a couple of new suppliers. We haven't got them on this list because we don't have the data yet. They've just come on board. But I would just like to mention supplier number 82. They've got a wide range of really nice and good quality home products. And also number 87, they've got a very large range of products. They've just come on board. They've got really nice data, really nice images. We're going to be onboarding their products in batches. We haven't even sent out the new supplier announcement email yet because we want to do it when we've got more of their products on board. But they're going to be bringing a very big range. So some of you might want to get in early and look at number 87. Right, I was just reading Ross's comment. Ross has commented that he's tried on the wallpaper range. He hasn't managed to eke out the margins that he was looking for. So that's interesting feedback. So thank you for that, Ross. The supplier number for the wallpapers was somebody help me out. What did I say it was?
75.
Oh, thanks, Lucas. That's so Ranjo, that's 75. So you might want to take a look at that. Okay, so I'll carry on. Right, I'm just going to move on now to the category sold by supplier. So again, some I've already covered. Some suppliers sell across many different categories. Typically, the wholesalers represented across categories. Others are niche specialist suppliers, giving a very limited range, but bespoke products or products, most likely that they're the brand owner manufacturer, they're making themselves. The benefit of those types of suppliers is you get probably a more interesting range for your store and not generic products. If you can get some good traction, so you might not get initial sales so quickly because you've got to do a bit of work. You're selling like a really nice silk scarf or something that's not branded, so you don't benefit from the name of the brand. But if you can get that traction through social media or whatever it is, you can build up a longer term sales strategy. The other benefit of those types of products is they will have very deep inventory and replaceable inventory as well, because they're the manufacturers, right? They're only making a limited range of products, so they're going to have deep inventory in the products they've got. So a couple of suppliers I would highlight in that example might be 78. That's our tea supplier. Specialty teas. Just to bear in mind that the prices we quote in the platform for that supplier are bulk prices. They're not per packet. There's prices of 4 and prices of 10. We haven't done a very good job of communicating that. To be honest, we didn't have functionality in the platform to deal with bulk pricing. We're building it. So we've done a bit of a hot fix on that at the moment. We'll roll that out. But look at the tea supplier. The reason we bulk the products is to make the shipping more attractive. 77 is the bespoke silk and cotton scarves, fashion accessories. They also do baby clothing. They just introduced baby clothing to the catalogue. And 79 is an interesting one. They're the cleaning products and sanitizers. Good product, right, for just constant sales. And we've got a couple of sellers who are doing quite well with those products. So I'm just going to finish out on the data side of things. I'm conscious of the time. I did just want to cover off on this subject, which is breaking through the 100 monthly orders. Now, we know and we appreciate 100 monthly orders is not going to make or break you. You know, we need to be doing hundreds and then thousands of orders. But we've noticed there is a threshold. We see a drop off in sellers who just struggle to get to that 100. Once they get to that, or even 50 to 100, once they get to that 100, they're on board and they've stayed with us. So we have some from the very beginning. They move to the hundreds, and we've got some doing thousands of orders a month. But they've got to get to the 100. It's like a break point, and it starts making sense for you. If you see in every day a few orders ticking in, it gets you more excited, right? So what are you got to do, or what do we notice? Some very high level things, and it's not earth shattering. It's kind of obvious, but I do want to spell it out. One is maybe not so obvious. One is actually the guys doing more than 100 orders a month on average are actually doing lower order value. So they are tending to do slightly lower price point goods, probably with deeper inventory that they're just churning out. So that's interesting. But the most important kind of characteristic, and just to be really brutally honest with everyone, the guys doing more than 100 orders a month, the guys working the hardest. That's clear. We see them day in, day out in the chats. We see them. We see their orders. They're very interactive with us, but they're also clearly doing the most. They source from the most categories, the chart on the right hand side. And then on the next page, I'm going to show you, they also source from the most suppliers, which is kind of natural if they're sourcing from the most categories. But they, by long way, source more products and then list and sell more products. So they're basically just working harder to generate the sales. What we're trying to do at Avasam is make it as easy as possible. We're automating all the core processes. We're delivering the catalog, trying to deliver good suppliers. We know, again, we've got more work to do on that, but we're coming with them, and bear with us. We've got some really good suppliers coming on board. But we can't substitute for one thing, which is good old-fashioned elbow grease and hard work. And as many of you will know, those of you that are experienced sellers, you don't need me telling you that. That's patronizing. But those of you who are new and just getting started, don't believe that hype that's out there that you can just do very little, click a few buttons and expect to make money coming in. It doesn't work like that. You still have to work hard, really do your research, spend time analyzing more products, but also then work on your listings. So not only list more products, but if you can, maybe improve the listings. Not all of our listings are perfect. We have minimum data standards, but make the title better. Write longer descriptions, do a bit of research on the internet, see if you can get a bit more product information on there. If you're going to focus on some niche products, maybe you want to order a few products that you're really going to focus on. Or if you've generated some sales and you can see they've got potential and you know it's a niche supplier with deep inventory, maybe you want to take your own product images, make yourself stand out, differentiate. And of course, use your marketing channels, use your social media to promote and direct them back to your store. The people doing that are the ones that we see do the biggest orders. One last thing from me, and then I'm going to pass over to Lucas. I'm not going to go in detail. It wouldn't be right to go line by line. We did want to share as a thank you for everyone, like a product file for only those of you coming on this call. So we're not going to send this file around. Can't promise you that this is going to have lots of products that are going to earn you lots of money, but hopefully there should be some in there that you can find. Because we don't share individual sellers' data, and we won't share a good selling product of somebody else with you or with the other seller. It's not right. They've worked hard to find that product. I'm sure none of you would like it if you're selling something really well and we go and tell everyone else about it. That doesn't mean to say we don't run algorithms and push products up the catalog, but we don't do it specific. So what we're doing here is aggregate data. We're looking at products that are not necessarily selling well now, but we think they offer good potential. Why do we think they offer good potential? We've used our pricing tools, our market analysis tools, we've used our own data, we've spoken to the suppliers, and we've kind of tried to come up with a list of products that give a good balance between margin potential, potential market demand profile, and have decent stock depth levels. I should caveat, these are all products that are barcoded. So we've got products in the catalog that have barcodes that you can map in the market and then check the prices and see where they are. And then we've got bespoke products or white label products that don't have the barcodes. We can't do so much there. That's harder to compare. So what I'll do is we're going to share at the end a file. It's an Excel file that looks like this. It's got about 175 products in it. Can't remember how exactly if we're going to share it in this webinar. Somebody will tell me at the end, or if we're going to email it around. Again, no promises, but that's a bit of analysis our team have done, our catalog team, to try and help you on your way. So with that, I'm now going to stop talking. I've overrun by about 5 minutes. So Lucas, I'm going to pass over to you. I believe you are now going to walk us through a quick live demo of the listing tool before we go into Q&A. I believe I need to stop sharing my screen and you will share yours. So there might be a bit clunkiness now as we do that. So I'm passing to you, Lucas.
So hopefully you can all, hi guys, so hopefully you can all see my screen now. I'm just going to give you a quick run through the platform and the Shopify integration and the listing tool. So this would be our homepage, which is used mainly for communication to our users with the buzzboard or the new sticky cards available that we are updating accordingly. Once you are ready to integrate your Shopify, you would go onto the settings here, which would take you to the main page for the settings and sales channel integrations. Then under the sales channel integrations, you are able to see all the sales channels that you can integrate with. And when you click on Add Sales Channel, then you are able to see all the integrations that we currently offer and support. Sorry, I'm not sure if something has happened there.
It was a psychedelic moment there, Lucas.
Yeah, always. So hopefully you can see the screen now.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So here under the sales channel integration, you are able to see all the sales channels that we currently support. This button would take you to Shopify help page documentation, and then would be all explained to our knowledge base articles, how you can either integrate the channel, map the SKUs, or other bits and pieces regarding the Shopify. So once you're ready to integrate, you click on Add, and here you will just follow the basic process of the integration. We got the separate videos for each functionality. So when you integrated the channel, now you will be able to search the products, and you can use search products from our catalog by using the relevant categories or product type, price filters, stock, date, or the supplier IDs. You can then simply source the products by clicking on the product or using the tick button here, or simply selecting all and then source all the products that you have selected. You can source up to 100 at one time. Once you source the products, they will be added to your My Products page, where you're able to see all the information available regarding images, SKUs, titles, price, cost including or excluding VAT, and the stock levels, and if you have mapped the SKUs. Then under the listing manager, you are able to see that Shopify has been integrated now with all other different selling channels. You can either test the channel, reauthorize the channel, check the sync logs, SKU mapping, and shipping mapping. If you using our automated listing tool, the SKUs are mapped automatically, and the shipping mapping you just need to map accordingly to your settings in your Shopify store. So under the listing manager, you are able to access the listing tool for Shopify. And now I'm going to show you live, hopefully it will all work, to list a couple of products. So if you select any of the products, you can also list up to 100 at a time. So you would select the products you want to list. You are able to see the image, SKU, along with the title and the description inside of that. You can see the categories, stock levels, cost price. Now it's excluding VAT. You can use the toggle button to include the VAT of the product, and also from the relevant drop-down menu you can select the service, and you would be able to see the price of the service for shipping. Now you can either enter the price manually, or you can also use one of our functionalities, which is pricing rule engine, and you would be able to set these under the settings and pricing rules. Here you can see I've got one set, I just haven't got it turned on. And here you can give the rule the name, where to apply the rule, by the source and subsource, for specific categories or all the categories, and then you can put the product by the percentage or the fixed value. Then you are able to either include the shipping and then select the shippings accordingly, and then assign price decimals, and then acknowledge all these terms that if you agree to them. Once you save that, and then you make the price rule to be turned on, then the price would be updated accordingly to your settings. So going back to the listing, I will just do this manually. I'll put these two prices here, and then you are able to select either product type if you got that set, and then apply the collections that you have set on your Shopify store. So I'm gonna list these now. It might take a second to load. I appreciate it's all live going into your store directly with all the details and images. So the listing request is in progress. And once you can see I've got some products already listed here, you can see the green tick for the products that have been listed already. And this blue cloud means that they haven't been listed at all. You can then check the status of the listings for the listed products not listed, or if for some reason they contain any errors. So seems to be that these have been listed. We can go now straight to the store. If you got your store already live, you can just click on this green tick and it will take you to your live store. My store is currently not live, so I'll just take you to the store, and then we would be able to see all the products currently. And these two products have been listed successfully with all the stock updated, images, and then we can view these on the live store as well, where I'm gonna go into my catalog, and these products have been downloaded and listed correctly. Now you can go inside the products as well. Check if everything is done correctly. So hopefully this has been helpful for you guys, for some that you haven't been using the listing tool yet or planning to integrate with Shopify store. If you got any questions regarding this functionality or any other, please reach out to us on our live chat, where we are available at these times, or you can email us to support@avasam.com. Hopefully this been helpful for you guys. So I will just now pass over I'll stop sharing the screen and I'll pass over to Peter and Mustafa.
Oh, thanks a lot, Lucas. That's very helpful, and hopefully, like Lucas said, for those of you not familiar. So I think now we're going to pass over to Mustafa. Mustafa's going to walk us through a couple of polls. We'd love to just get a couple of quick views from you guys on a couple of points, and then really any Q&A, any questions you've got for us. I do see there's a question we haven't answered yet from Lee, so we can get onto that in a second. But I'll pass to Mustafa.
Great, good stuff. Thanks, Peter. Yep, as I said, to kick off the Q&A, we've got a couple of polls that we've put together here. So the first one is, what is the single biggest blocker you have faced using Avasam? So I'm going to publish the poll here. It should turn up on your screens if you hit the response button, and then we can sort of see some of the results as well. So I'll hit publish, and we've got it going live there. So initial setup challenges, lack of search features, product range, product margins, inventory levels, customer support, user interface, or other. Okay. I don't seem to see any responses coming through. Oh, there we go. It's a little bit of a delay. Okay, that's coming in there. I'll give a couple more minutes. It's changing live.
And for those of you answering other, we'd love it if you can drop that in the chat as well and let us know what that is. We do try and listen to all your concerns, and we're constantly trying to improve things. So this is helpful for us.
Cool. I think we're good there. It's actually quite a bit of a mix.
Yeah.
It's coming along. Okay, maybe there's a few more coming in there. All right. I think still coming in. Oh. Okay. I'll give it another 10 seconds and I'll end this poll.
Does it then, I assume it then publishes for everyone?
I think I can publish it.
Okay.
It's our first time with this, guys.
This particular webinar software, yeah.
All right. Cool. Right. Okay, I ended that one. Does it come up? Can you guys see it? No, I don't think you can see it, but I'll go through some of the stats that we're seeing there. So initial setup challenges leading with one of the biggest challenges is product margins. And as Peter mentioned, that's one of the areas we're working on pretty heavily as well. So getting closer to source, getting suppliers on board who can give us as attractive margins as possible. Next one down was product range. So again, it's one of the ones we've been working on. We've got actually quite an extensive catalog, as you've sort of seen right now, but it'll just improve over time and coming through. And I think the last one's on inventory levels and setup challenges and user interface. I think if you've got anything specific there that's coming through, then feel free to ping Lucas, or we'll be sharing some of the support details as well, so you can get in touch and get that resolved.
Yeah, and I'd probably just add, we're probably not surprised. So product margins 33%, product range 22%, so 55% between those 2 points. I'd just like to add, as I mentioned, guys, we are still a new platform. We launched in October 2019. We did spend a lot of last year refining the platform. You probably saw us introduce a lot of features. We used a huge amount of our resources doing that. But this year is very much the year of the catalog. So we hear you, and we're going to be putting much more resource into that side of things going forward. So bear with us, watch this space. We get it, and it's top priority for us.
Cool. All right. So the next one's more on the Shopify side. So that we do work closely with Shopify, and we will start the poll here to say, what are the challenges you have faced on Shopify? So I'm going to start that poll. So the question responses there are finding products, updating inventory, store design, technical setup, building website traffic, or integrating with Avasam. So I shall publish it now. There you go. We'll give a minute or so for that. Interesting, coming through. Okay, all right. I think that looks like it's come through there. So I am going to now end that poll. Right. So the leading one there was, which wasn't too much surprising, building website traffic. I think that's one a lot of people are challenging. I think if we sort of think about it, your high street is Google, but then there's more and more of that's coming through with places, people like Facebook, social channels, Insta, Twitter, etc. There's a lot of channels that can be used to sort of direct traffic. And it's now how to work between all of them, where to spend your budget, how to drive that, how to work with your own communities as well. So not too surprising where that one's coming up. Next one down, equal, was finding products and updating inventory. So hopefully what we've presented today, the range of products, how it works with Avasam can help with that and help you bringing that through. And then the other two, we didn't get much there as well. So yeah, I think just, as sort of Peter was saying, you work hard to drive traffic to your sites or your marketplace storefronts if you have them as well. And is making sure you can convert them in the best way. And by expanding your product range, expanding your inventory, means that you have a greater chance of being able to convert that traffic and work it through. So we see the Avasam platform helping you be able to do that, helping expand that range. And then there may be product categories that you really want to, you're testing and trialing, and then you may want to start sourcing yourself directly as well. So there's lots of different ways you can sort of look through it. And as our inventory grows, there'll only be more examples where we can build on that. Cool. Okay, we've got a couple more minutes left, and so we've got a few questions coming through. And if you've got anything, just pop them into the chat. We made the chat private, so we can see all of the questions that you're typing in there coming through, and then we'll channel them through. Okay, so one of the ones is: are there any plans to have more sustainable, eco-friendly suppliers on board? So I'm going to pass that over to Peter, because who's coming and who's coming on board in terms of our upcoming onboarding strategy as well. But I know we're always working on some of the key trends there, and sustainability has been a big one. So it'd be sort of quite good to interesting to hear more about that.
Yeah, I think the answer to that is yes. Actually, our packaging supplier, number Lucas 61. Need to think. Packaging supplier.
61 packaging. Yeah,
61. A lot of eco-friendly products. We actually use it. I run another smaller business myself, and we use those products. Great products, eco-friendly. The answer is yes. It's the way forward. Environmental footprint and that kind of thing. So we are looking to source more of those types of products for sure. And we may even do a category. Well, not even may. We will eventually do a category on that.
Cool. Great.
Mustafa, if I may, there's a question I just want to address from Lee McCarthy. So Lee has asked about whether or not we're planning to introduce an integration for PrestaShop, and how long we could expect to see something like this introduced. So I'll be very honest, Lee. We did have a rudimentary integration for PrestaShop, and for those of you who are with us in the very beginning, you will notice we did have a larger number of integrations. I'll be hands on the table. What we realized was it's very hard to maintain a huge volume of integrations from the get-go. And what we decided was to focus on a smaller number of integrations, but do them better, make them more reliable, more robust, and get all the APIs sorted, and build up official partnerships with each of our channel integrations as much as is possible. So the answer is, will we do a PrestaShop integration? Yes, we will. It's not right at the top of the development stack right now, and it's not imminent, but it is in probably I'd say the next kind of tier of integration. So yes, we will eventually bring a PrestaShop integration. I can't promise it's in the next few months, back end of the year, possibly, or early next, but not imminently.
Cool, good stuff. On that line, in terms of earlier versions, Scott's mentioned, starting off on mobile, but now really focusing on desktop, and it makes sense, and that's quite right. I think we found a lot of the feature sets you sort of seen as Lucas sort of went through the demo and integrating through lots of different areas and filters and criteria to work through, and it makes sense on desktop, and I think that's where we sort of try and drive traffic, try and drive people come back in. We do a lot of marketing and product awareness through channels like WhatsApp, email, etc., to just make awareness of what's happening and what new suppliers are coming on board, what new features are doing. But ultimately, logging back in on your desktop on the platform and working through and optimizing all of your settings is what makes sense.
If I could just add to that, Mustafa. So Scott, you may have called us at a particular moment when you were trying the mobile version. We actually are going to, I was speaking to one of our dev team today. We're going to do a light touch mobile app relatively soon, and that will enable just basic features, searching for products, adding them to your inventory, monitoring basic order flow. I think this is limited touch. We will then build it out and have more features at a later date. But last year we focused on really the optimizing the desktop. To do it seriously and in scale, you do need the desktop, but we understand a mobile app will be very helpful for when you're on the move, you've got some spare time, you're sitting in a doctor's surgery or something and you want to give them some products, or if you want to share products to social media, it's quite easy to do from a mobile phone, and so we want to give you that feature. So we will improve that mobile. You might have had a bad experience when I think we had for a short period of time something live, and then we took that down.
Cool. And another one from Scott there is, are we having any joy onboarding furniture suppliers? So again, back to you, Peter, in terms of what we've got in the pipeline. I think we've had a few that we've had in the pipeline beforehand, but I'm not sure where we are on the latest status there. But actually, I'll just interject though. I know there's some exciting ones we are looking at on garden furniture, and I know that's super hot category. You guys all see what's happening with Aldi and Special Buys, so super hot category and it's coming on board. But yeah, it might be in terms of what's else in the pipeline.
Yeah, that's true. Garden furniture. Some of our suppliers, when you do scroll through, there are furniture items, smaller ones. One of the biggest challenges is bulk. It's a very bulky item, shipping costs. A lot of furniture has long lead times because a lot of furniture is built to order, so you don't just necessarily get a sofa and then it arrives. It can be weeks lead time. So yes, and there's no reason at all why we wouldn't. We've just built our Wish integration. We know a lot of furniture gets sold on Wish. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's imminent in like we're specifically looking for it, but we're open to it, and that's a product category we will fill. Again, I don't know about the very bulky stuff. We have to think about that. But then again, maybe this garden furniture we'll learn a lot about the shipping and how we do that. And if we get comfortable with that, then obviously we could grow from there. Higher price point goods, of course. So don't need a lot of margin to make some good pounds profit at least.
If I can mention, perhaps the 82 suppliers got some interesting kind of drawers and a little bit of furniture items, I would say. So perhaps the research in that is a
and
little
that's
bit
one of our brand new suppliers, right? So
cool. I think we're good on the questions, and I think we covered when we're bang on time at 7 o'clock. So it's a nice work there, guys. We'll be sharing the link, as Peter mentioned. We'll have the recording. We'll have some of the handouts there as well.
I will just, sorry, that was my fault. I'm just sharing the product file now. If I've done that too late and anyone doesn't get it in time, I'm just going to talk really slowly until that loads. If you don't get it in time, if you can just message Lucas, he will send it out. Or I think we may just proactively send it out by an email. That might be the easiest thing as well.
Great. Well, really good.
Should we just check? Is it worth checking if there's any other? Has anyone got any final? So Ross, thank you. Ross is saying 82 is a good supplier. So thanks for that, Ross. We think the same. We've got high hopes for that supplier. Should we just see if anyone's got any last final questions you want to chuck in? Because I understand it's on a bit of a delay, Mustafa. That's the only thing. I think there's a little bit of a delay. Oh, here we go. Can we expect to see the API documentation again? Oh, good question. Lee McCarthy, can we expect to see the API documentation getting a little more added to it? Right. You're not talking to the techies, unfortunately, Lee. So I'm going to be very honest with you. We have just updated the API documentation in the knowledge base literally last week, or even in the last few days. If you can take a look at that updated version, I think we've substantially updated it. If it's still not meeting your needs or there's other things, we would like to get your feedback. If you could feed that again into the support team, we do take those things very seriously. And if you've got ideas that we can improve, please let us know. But like I say, we did do a revamp. Please take a look at it. It went live in the knowledge base a few days ago.
Yeah, if I can just mention quickly regarding any technical related question, it's always worth raising a ticket directly from your account, because you get the answer, I think, more accordingly when you raise that technical question to our tech guys, if that's possible. But anyway, you can reach out to us on the live chat or email us, and then we will pass it on.
We've just had another seller who's happy for us to plug that they've had a very good experience with supplier 26. So 26 is a supplier we know very well. You recall from some of the charts I shared earlier, very wide range of products that have unique individual products that have achieved sales, present in a huge number of categories. So we concur. 26 is definitely a supplier that is active on the platform.
Cool.
I think that might be it.
Nice. Well, yeah, we've got the support there for the teams, lots of different channels to reach out to. Presentation will be shared. Thanks once again for joining. I think it was great to share the stats. Great to have the engagement as well. Thanks. Super good questions as well. And if there's anything more, feel free to reach out. I think we'll probably be looking to run maybe another one of these in the next few months as well, as the data changes, as we see some of the trends from summer coming in as well. So we look forward to it. Cool.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time.
All the best. Thank you.
Thank you.